The world is on fire. It's only been until the past century that climate change has become a problem, and to this day, there hasn't been any significant action taken to combat the rising issue of climate change. And the result of this? Fire. We all know fire is a chemical reaction, and to sustain fire, you need heat, fuel, and oxygen. When you take any of these components away, fire can't exist. Now, humans have been using fire for a really long time, and early humans used it to cook their food, stay warm, and ward off predators. By learning how to control and manipulate fire, humans were able to create new materials and tools like ceramics, charcoal, and metals, which were just simply used to make the process to be more efficient. Charcoal comes from burning wood slowly in a space that lacks oxygen. It made existing ceramics more durable and was also used in smelting and forging of metals, which both gave access to better equipment and tools. And eventually this would just lead to the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution brought about machines and factories that were able to produce goods on a much larger scale for an exploding population of people. Improvements to sanitation, healthcare, and access to clean water and food made people live longer, and the standard of living skyrocketed. But so did demand. With the advent of coal and other fossil fuels, we began to burn massive amounts of carbon-based materials, releasing large amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere to reach these new demands, and today, the impact is pretty evident in the climate change and other environmental problems that we've been experiencing recently. An example of this would be jet streams. Jet streams are bands of strong winds that usually blow from west to east around the world. They form and are influenced by the amount of cold and warm air in the atmosphere. As you would guess, the increased amount of greenhouse gases from mass production leads to more heat being trapped, warming up the air in the atmosphere, which distorts the jet stream, leading to droughts. Droughts are becoming more frequent and devastating, which further increases the risk of wildfires. Droughts will dry vegetation and trees due to a lack of precipitation, and a lack of precipitation means that water shortages can occur and hinder the abilities for firefighters to fight fires that are more likely to occur because of now drier conditions. Also, weather patterns are changing, making hot days hotter while cold days warmer. An example of one place out of many that's being affected by climate change would be Oregon. Oregon being near the coast means it receives cool air coming in from the ocean all year round. But in recent years, wind patterns have become increasingly distorted and Oregon has reached record high levels of heat. The people of Oregon aren't really equipped with the air conditioning to withstand these record levels of heat because they wouldn't normally need it because of the cool air coming in from the ocean. This record levels of heat causes longer and harsher dry seasons, which are perfect for wildfires. During 2020, Oregon experienced the most destructive fire season in their history, which burned well over 1 million acres of land at the time where there was continued dry weather and fast winds. The average annual temperature is projected to increase by 5 degrees Fahrenheit by 2050 and more than 6 degrees in the summer. It's only going to get hotter and drier, which is going to worsen wildfires. And to give you an idea of just how big 1 million acres of land is, that's the size of Rhode Island. Now, when trees are burned, it releases many harmful pollutants. These pollutants include carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxides, which are both dangerous in high concentrations, sometimes sulfur dioxide depending on the tree, particulate matter which causes lung issues, and VOCs which can also cause lung issues. Depending on the size and severity of the fire, pollutants can travel far from the source of the fire, affecting air quality in nearby cities and communities. Not all fires are bad though. Controlled burns can help clean underbush, control insect populations, and stimulate the growth of new vegetation. Many ecosystems rely on the occasional natural fire to maintain their health and biodiversity. For example, some trees, like the lodgepole pine, has evolved to rely on these fires to release their seeds and regenerate their population. Similarly, grasslands and savannas also rely on the periodic fire to maintain their open and diverse landscapes. But these evolutionary changes occurred over millions of years. The temperature changes we've seen in the last century are alarming. Wildfires vary a lot depending on the weather and fuel availability. The most common type of fires are surface fires. As the name suggests, it burns near the surface where shrubs and small trees are. With rising temperatures drying out vegetation, better conditions are made for these fires to transition from surface to ground fires, which are drastically more devastating. Crown fires will burn through groups of trees which can spread rapidly in densely packed forest, destroying huge areas of land and homes, which disrupts wildlife and worsens climate change by adding more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And depending on the intensity of the fire, it can destroy the physical structure and properties of the soil, making it take longer to restore the ecosystem. So, is there really a lot you can do yourself to slow climate change? Well, for sure. What you do may not have a significant change in global emissions, but it's definitely a start in the right direction. During the pandemic, everyone was shut in their homes and they weren't really going anywhere. No driving. It dropped carbon emissions by 4.6% in 2020. Now, it's bounced back and it's actually gotten even worse. What I'm trying to say though is that one person that isn't contributing to global emissions is better than nobody. If you'd like, you could possibly bike to your destination instead of driving, or use less single-use plastics to reduce your carbon footprint. Even just advocating for change can make a significant difference. Your voice can drive political and social change toward reducing carbon emissions. Companies, such as Tesla, are helping transition cars to become more sustainable with electricity, and Apple is promising to operate with reduced carbon emissions. Countries like Iceland and Costa Rica are aiming to become carbon neutral as well, but we need everyone on board to have any significant change, as otherwise it's going to keep getting hotter. No single company, organization, or politician will be able to solve this issue unless everyone works together to stop climate change. An individual may not contribute a lot to climate change, but millions, if not billions, would for sure affect climate change. Having even 1 million people ride their bike would mean 1 million cars taken off the road, which means less greenhouse emissions. Not eating meat for a day could also reduce your carbon footprint. Now is the time to change, because the world is on fire. Do what you will with what I've told you. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day.